To you, the head of the IAEA, right? He is saying that Iran has failed to provide information and access to these areas in Iran, and has failed to answer the greater majority of the questions it has today. This is the UN now. What's that tell you?
Yeah, well, you certainly can't write the UN off as a bunch of right-wing crazies. This is very, very important. Yuki Amano, who's a Japanese diplomat, well-versed in arms control and nuclear issues, came out and basically this report that the International Atomic Energy Agency issued says that it is impossible to verify details of Iran's nuclear program without a far more intrusive and extensive inspection regime than the Obama administration appears willing to accept. I mean, at present, Bill, there are sites in Iran we have never inspected. There are reputedly far more sites that we're not even asking about. It does appear that the Obama administration wants this deal so badly that, in fact, there's even another wrinkle in this, where the Ayatollah Khamenei in Iran, the supreme leader, has said that, well, you know, maybe at the end of March an oral agreement, but there's only one real deal, and that's going to come in June. So he's just moved it all several months down the road.
Well, Colonel, it gets worse than that. The UN, the IAEA, that's the branch of the UN doing the inspections here. It says Iran has replied to 1 of 12 queries about possible military dimensions and very limited information about 2 other places, including this area called the Parchin military complex. And they say there is a part of that complex where they have just been refused access. And we're about to do a deal with a country like that?
Yeah, well, the Parchin base is huge. It's tens of square miles, as are others. There are sectors we've never been allowed to see. There are deep underground bunkers where work's being conducted. And, you know, we all really should be very, very afraid of this. And then you listen to the Commissar for Propaganda at the White House, Josh Ernst. He was questioned about, well, what about all the other things Iran's doing? The Iranian aggression in Syria, in Lebanon, in Gaza, in Iraq, in Yemen, their worldwide support of terrorism. And Ernst's response was, well, we're watching all that. Well, no, they're not watching all that, or certainly they're watching it passively. They just want this nuke deal. And Ernst went on to basically say that the way to make Iran more peaceful is to lift sanctions and give them hundreds of billions more dollars every year. I mean, if Iran is doing everything it is already to spread a new Iranian empire across the Middle East, what will they do when they have sanctions lifted and far more wealth pouring into the country?
I understand the point you're making.
It's pretzel logic.
There's no deal yet. No, there's no deal yet, but this is the information we're getting. By the way, the head of the IAEA has met with John Kerry on Tuesday and was set to meet with Susan Rice, I believe, yesterday as well. Yeah. Here's the Supreme Leader on Saturday. Listen to this, Colonel.
Death to America. Yes, because America is the main cause of these pressures. They themselves insist on focusing on the economy of our dear nation. What's their aim? Their aim is to place the people against the system.
What would Ronald Reagan do if he heard that comment only 4 days ago?
Well, he certainly wouldn't sign a giveaway nuke deal with Iran. I mean, look at how we have allowed the Iranians to move the goalpost. The original intent of these talks, Bill, was zero tolerance for Iranian nukes. And now we're down to the point where it's, well, we want a 1-year guarantee of a breakout period before they can explode a nuke. That's basically what we're looking at. And you made a very important point. There isn't a deal yet. The Iranians are so confident in Obama's desperation that they may ultimately make demands that Kerry and Obama realize you could never sell to the American people in the world. So the Iranians may wind up savaging this in the end, but in the meantime, look what they've already gotten. They've gotten years to continue their secret nuclear activities, and they've gotten partial sanctions relief, about $13 billion turned over to them now. And meanwhile, important wrinkle in this. While the president is attacking Benjamin Netanyahu as somehow our enemy, cozying up to Iran, dreaming of being friends, We have other things going on in the world. Our president, who always has time for Al Sharpton, could not make time for Jens Stoltenberg, the new head of NATO, the new General Secretary of NATO, to meet him this week. Every other president has always met the NATO GenSec when he comes to town. You know how Vladimir Putin reads that? He reads it as Obama saying, well, you know, you've had 2 trips to the Ukraine buffet. Go for thirds.
Colonel, thank you. No deal yet. We'll underline that. We'll see whether or not there is one within a week. Ralph Peters out of Washington. Thank you, sir.